out the comments, leave me out the nonsense.
We got some Drake, everybody, some Drake. Frank, you want to say it, Frank? You want to say it? We are
live, baby. What's up, man?
You know how my job get barking up the wrong tree. You know how
the guys get having fallen off.
Come with a classic.
We are here, guys, today to talk about a seller's perspective.
We have some
on Amazon.
We have some interesting invites today, baby. Some super interesting invites.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
One of them is a childhood friend of yours. He's standing right behind me. His name is Dayon.
Yes.
Dan, what's up? Introduce yourself.
Hi, guys. I'm Dan. I've known David for quite some time now, and he invited me today to talk with with Frank and with Haim to share some cool perspectives and learn some really cool stuff with each other. So I'm really looking forward to it.
So exactly how long do you know David? I'm just so curious. I know it's been such a long time.
Almost 72 hours now.
I love it. I love it.
Sounds about right. We went to Miami.
I had to check my memory for that one. But,
we shared a few meals together. We shared a few meals together yesterday, specifically the meal of lunch. It was very good.
We didn't share all of our meals together because some people only order for themselves.
Yeah.
So
they didn't bring for other people.
Who was that?
To give you a little bit of background,
names, we don't call people out by name like that. But he's a guy wearing a headset. But
I hear you. Let me tell you a little bit about me and David. We do a lot of dinners together. We go out a lot, and this is probably one of the first times. David was posting a whole bunch of pictures of Florida, and I was getting a whole bunch of DMs like, "Hey, are you in Florida?" I don't know if you were one of the people that texted me.
No, I didn't. Because I knew you were in the DR.
Right, I told you. So they were like, "Hey, Frank, are you in Florida? Hey, Frank, are you in Florida?" And real quick, this is just the power of how this platform works and how people follow exactly what you do. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
We also have Haim with us. Haim, me and David both know you for David obviously longer, but we've been able to work on some projects together. Introduce yourself real quick.
So my name is Haim. I know David and Frank for some time now. We work together. I run a private label business I manufacture stuff for a company, and we do private label on Amazon.
David, you have an interesting pick because you have a person that does private label, and then we have a person that does the complete opposite of private label, right? So
yeah. We wanted to get unique perspectives here today. I'm going to start off with a little bit of an intro, Frank. We rarely do an intro, and I want to actually tell anyone watching this in the playback, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit a like on Facebook, hit a like on LinkedIn. We like to see that action.
Yes.
Whether it's live and it's a comment, ask any questions. We'll try to answer them. We're very excited for today's episode. We have both ends of it. Like Frank was just saying, we have two Amazon sellers, years of experience. I know for a fact that they both have their what's the word we're looking for? They have their qualifications. They know their stuff. They've been doing it for a long time, and I think that we can all learn, myself included, from today's conversation. So with that, let's get started. But before we do get started, I heard a rumor that in the DR, the service there is not that great.
All right, this is the right thing.
So Frank,
I wasn't sure he was going to do it.
Frank, I just want to ask you real quick. Is that a rumor or is it actual truth? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I have a lot of friends and customers that have traveled to the Dominican Republic. You know what? They keep traveling, right? So that's all that matters. This country is always filled with people. It's one of the top-rated resorts. If people keep coming, then there's really.
I think what David was just trying to say is that if Frank cuts out, guys, please just forgive him, and we're going to try to get him back with us if it happens. All right?
Maybe Frank wasn't answering your calls on purpose and just blaming it on the cell phone.
That's definitely what happened. At the end
of the day, haters are always going to hate, right? So I'm okay with that.
All right, now that we put those rumors to bed, I think we're ready to get started with the show. So I'm going to just simply ask for I guess we'll start with Daniel. Daniel, please tell the watchers, the listeners, tell them how you got started on Amazon, and maybe a little bit of history of your unique perspective into the Amazon selling space. Give us the summary if you can.
Okay, so I'm going to start with a little disclaimer, and I explained it to David when he asked me to join. As David said in the intro, I primarily do arbitrage, meaning I only resell large brands. I don't do like what Haim does, where private label, create my own brands. So just the nature of what I do and the nature of what Amazon is, I tend to have a little bit more of a pessimistic view in certain areas about certain things that private label sellers don't have to necessarily deal with. But I've been doing arbitrage on Amazon now for about 7 years. I started off in wholesale. I was working in wholesale, and I had some friends who started in Amazon, and thank God we're doing very, very, very well. So I approached them, and with different products that they didn't have, and we just started selling it. And 7 years ago, everybody was in arbitrage. The private label was a much smaller market back then. Services, things like this didn't even exist. This would have blown my mind 7 years ago. But so like I was saying, part of what the way that Amazon is, the way people interact with Amazon started changing, and a lot of sellers started falling off of arbitrage to private label just because it became a very turbulent place to be. And
I myself used to be. I was telling you, I used to be in arbitrage, and we moved away along with everyone else I know. So that's exactly very true.
David was surprised when we met way back when that that I told him that I was still doing arbitrage, because he's like, literally, I don't know anybody else that still does it. You almost have to be a masochist at this point to even want to be in arbitrage on Amazon. Currently I have 2 accounts that are shut down, and 2 pending lawsuits with brands. And that's just part of the beast of being in arbitrage right now.
A regular day at work, I think they call it.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people all the time, just the cost, but that's why I tell people all the time, I have a darker group, doomer, gloomer, gloomier view. When I talk to people about Amazon, the one thing that I always say, and in private label, it's not necessarily true, but at the end of the day, it's always true for Amazon, is that we're playing in somebody else's,
sandbox,
playground. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're not. I don't look at it always necessarily as creating value as I do of just doing something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a sale, it's a marketplace. It's not. You're not the way that, like I said, in private label, it's different. You are building brands. Stuff like Thracio didn't exist many years ago, where you can come in and just people are selling their brands at ridiculous multiples now. And I know guys that are getting insane offers. And obviously, in arbitrage, we're not building a business. What we do is not sellable.
To that point, Danny, to that point, I think that I was listening to a podcast, and they were saying that the optimal plan for an Amazon seller today, private label, not arbitrage, obviously, is build a brand, build recognition, create something. Everyone's trying to make like that Anchor brand, like Anchor really succeeded at that. So do that Anchor model and then sell it. And that's actually, and then once you sell it, 4 years. So 1, 2, 3, 4, sell it. Do it again. Do it again. That is actually the way of private label, which is something that you're very much not doing. You're I want to say one of the dinosaurs. And I think that this is a point that we were talking about over the past couple of days also was, and I didn't realize this until you said it. It's almost like all the guys that got pushed away and all the guys that whoever's left standing is just, there's a big opportunity out there. And I feel like it's
100%.
Exactly. Like I was telling you when we were talking that, back in the day, you used to get on large brands, just like something like Casio, like is, brand you used to do a lot with G-Shock.
Yep.
If you used to sell G-Shock 6 years ago, there were literally 40 or 50 sellers on every single model just selling them. I mean, literally just pages and pages and pages of sellers. Today, there's maybe 3 or 4 people selling it. So if you're still in the space and you can secure large quantities of goods, you're going to sell it, and the prices are doing better than what they were but you're going to get shut down a lot faster today than we did back 7 years ago. So the way that you set up your business, the way that you operate is not. You always have to be very, very mobile with what you do. You know what I'm saying? You always need to be ready to pivot because things will happen a lot faster than the way that they used to.
So Daniel, what happens when you buy a large quantity of an item and Amazon shuts you down? What's your plan B?
It's not plan B, it's plan A, because it's going to happen. So you have to plan on it happening. And the way that happens, well, first of all, you have to understand how Amazon operates, how the brands operate with Amazon. Right now, currently in America, if you buy goods, you're allowed to resell them. The same way if you had a watch and you didn't want it anymore, and you might put it on eBay or sell it in a garage sale, right? The brand can't come to you and say, hey, no, you can't have a garage sale in your house. So you are allowed to sell as long as they are authentic products that were bought legally in America, blah, 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 blah. You have the legal right to sell them. So as long as you understand that, when brands do reach out and make complaints, because the way that you're going to get shut down mostly on Amazon is through intellectual property complaints. That's really the only tool the brands have to shut you down. And then once you show Amazon, hey, I'm buying authentic, this is my proof, the brands will back down because they have to. And then you're going to get reopened, and then you're going to get shut down again, So the way that we the way that you kind of mitigate that is by having more than one account. Like, you cannot operate in arbitrage without multiple accounts, because at any given, and we send different brands to each one, because you're going to get shut down. So if you have, let's say 5 accounts and 1 or 2 are shut down, you're still going. You're still so, and then that just becomes like the pulse of your business. You kind of start figuring it out so you can go with it. So it's a lot more tumultuous than private label and stuff like that. But once you've been doing it for a while, it's like second nature. You're like, all right, that account's probably going to get shut down. Let's move this over here.
You could do it in your sleep now. You could do it in your sleep. That's it.
But at the end of the day, it's like it comes down to this very big thing that we all know is like a big statement called "If you know," right? And to digest that is tough for a person that doesn't understand it, right? So I applaud you for sticking around, man. And David said there is an opportunity for those that said, you know what, I'm going to stay grounded, and I'm not going to just because everybody's moving, I'm not going to move. And congratulations to you for that, because it takes a lot to say I'm not in the crowd.
Before we go,
just for people that might be looking into getting into this thing, like I said, I speak about it kind of pessimistically just because of the nature of what it is, but obviously I still do it, and thank God, we do very well. So Amazon is the largest marketplace in America. People still want brands. They don't just want private label. They're going to put in some words and something's going to pop up. When people are searching for a shoe, even though I know of many private label shoes that people just made and they're killing it, people still want Nike and Adidas and all these things. So if you can get them and you learn how to operate, the opportunities there are still huge.
I want to also bring out, I feel like that's very relevant to today, to the whole COVID thing. I know specifically there was people who got stuck with inventory, and Haim, maybe you can shed some light on that, but I want you to introduce yourself as well. Maybe after you introduce yourself, you can give me your comments on this point. I feel like anybody who held on to inventory and stuck it out at a certain point when everybody wanted to place orders, they were in the best position. And I've seen that myself. And anybody in the space, I think, has seen that a little bit. Maybe not so much in your space, Danny, because you're always trying to get the same goods, but with with people who have private label and they're trying to sell, and all of a sudden the whole world only wanted PPE, and everyone was just sitting with their inventory and nothing to do with it. And then some people scrambled and got rid of it all and did what they had to do and sold it at a loss. Other people just said, let me wait until people are ordering again. And then now the reality of the situation is they're doing business, and the guys who got rid of it all might not be. So that's just a point that I thought was relevant based on what you were saying, Danny, because you kind of stuck around and now your business is definitely there. But Haim, please give us a little bit of an intro, a little bit of a background, not necessarily what you do for a living, more your experience in the Amazon world. I know you have a nice history. I know you have a good little compilation of different experiences. So please educate the audience. Tell us what your experiences are, and then if you want to add some 2 cents to the point I just made, feel free as well.
So I'm almost selling on Amazon close to 20 years now.
Wow.
I started off selling. I was a buyer for a large e-tailer in the electronic space. We were direct with almost all the major brands. We were Apple's first dealer. And we started with Amazon when it was in infancy, letting sellers start to sell even on their platform. Over the years, I pivoted to private label, mostly because the profit margin shrank in the retail side. So we pivoted to private label. But also, again, we had to, even being authorized sellers for a lot of major brands, Amazon would throw us off. I know a customer complains it's inauthentic. They throw you off the listing. You got to start fighting to get back on the listing. Sometimes somebody in Amazon says no, and you can't get back on. So we pivoted more to a private label brand. And going to what David said, yes, we held, during COVID, with the people who had stock in FBA, the people who had stock in the United States were able to sell through their stock at better margins than before. You take into account that China was closed right before, went to Chinese New Year. They didn't reopen them after Chinese New Year because they had COVID, and then COVID came to us. So whoever didn't have merchandise in the pipeline or have goods on the ground, by May, June, July, had no more goods. So we were able to capitalize on a lot of that, and I know a lot of other sellers had phenomenal COVID, selling season because they had goods, they were well stocked on their products, and they were able to sell. Also, with all the retailers being closed, all the consumers pivoted to buying on Amazon because that was who was left. You couldn't walk into your Macy's, you couldn't walk into your Nike store, you couldn't walk into any of these stores. The only store you could really walk into was, Target, Walmart, Costco, and BJ's, and everything else was closed. So if what you needed wasn't carried in those 4 stores, you really only had online. And what gave Amazon a great advantage of was they were ready as much as they could be to pick back and ship, where a lot of these retailers that had small online businesses were not able to. But I want to touch on Daniel's point where, living in the Amazon world, whether you're a retail whether you're arbitrage or you're a private label, you have a lot of issues, with Amazon shutting you down or the brand shutting you down. The private label people don't have it easier because Amazon's just as strict. They find, customer complaints. I make $100 clock radio, and we manufacture it with a clear screen, so it doesn't get scratched in transit. Yeah. Customers forget to take it off, and they think there's scratches on, so they tell me they make a complaint. Oh, I got a used one. And Amazon shuts down your listing. But
Danny, so what were you saying? What were you telling me? You were like, Danny sells watches, and people buy the watch, remove one link, and then send it back.
2 or 3 links, yeah.
Whatever.
They need a link for their watch.
And then he has to measure the watch length of the. That is absurd. That is absurd.
We have definitely learned a lot over the years of how people operate. Some of it, like what Haim was just explaining. Well, it's probably pretty innocent. They just couldn't figure it out. In my case, what I was explaining to you, it's deliberate. People buy watches. They'll open up multiple accounts, buy a lot of watches on them all, take out 3-4 links, send them all back, and then they resell those links on eBay or whatever, and it's a business because even like on a mid end like a Michael Kors, like a $200 or $300 watch, each one of those links sells for about $10 on eBay. So if you buy 30 watches and take 3 links out of each, you have 90 you have 90 links now. You're going to sell it on eBay. It's $900 of easy free money. So that's something. Well, yeah, we figured that one out earlier on, but that's not even an operating on Amazon thing. That's just an e-commerce thing. No matter where you sell, I'm sure that happens to Macy's and all these other places. But you definitely learn a lot as you go on.
So I want to ask you guys a question that I think pertains to both of your, businesses. And I sort of know the answer a little bit, but enlighten me regardless. The whole COVID thing again has forced anyone I'm working with to look at FBM and say, I used to be a real advocate against FBM, and basically today I was right. You have to be ready, and if you're not doing this already, you're behind the 8 ball, and basically you have to rely on a hybrid model. You have to have FBA, you have to have FBM, and the reality of the situation is you have to look at FBM as a backup. So when you run out of FBA, you still have goods. And the best case scenario is when you don't have to use your FBM, but that you have it as a backup. Certain situations that cannot be fulfilled through Amazon, you'll just use FBM. Regardless, though, there's a big need for FBA, FBM. You guys are shaking your head, but has this always been the case? Did you guys always believe that? Is that something you've recently acquired, like me? This understanding that the future is a hybrid model. Haim, please go first, and then Danny.
So I always did FBM, not only because of Amazon. I did it because we sell on other platforms. Let's say Walmart, we sell on eBay, we sell on Newegg. There's all the Groupon, whatever the platform is. There was no fulfillment by, it was fulfilled by you. You have to, fulfill yourself. Also on Amazon, I don't think it's a backup. I may disagree with you there. I like to use it sometimes as a test. I don't want to ship in, a ton of goods sometimes on an item. Sure. Also, Amazon runs sometimes. I had cases over during COVID. Forget when they limited your stock. When they, there was a whole time where Amazon didn't let you send in goods to FBA, or started limiting you on how much you could send into FBA per SKU.
I got one better for you, Haim. I heard a strategy of create a listing, go FBM live with it immediately, because the longer you have of a listing created and no live, like basically you create a listing and ship it into FBA, and a week goes by where you have a listing with no goods available, that's bad. So I heard a strategy that says go live FBM and then ship, and then you can transition over to FBA. But at least for the first week, you want to, get ahead of the system, get ahead of the algorithm. You go FBM right away. But that's another. But I guess I was just saying, like, the most common, using FBM as a backup. I think FBA has its advantages. If you can go FBA, there's tremendous advantages there. So I was just saying one of the main reasons, I think, but there's definitely others. So Danny, do you feel that FBM and FBA is something you have to do in the future? I know you were shaking your head. Is that something you always believed? Is that something that you recently started believing?
Well, I'm not, like I said, I'm not as well versed on the private label end, but private label, it's your listing, right? So you're the only person selling it. Once you get into arbitrage, FBA makes you more competitive. There are certain things that if you're FBM, especially if you're competing with Amazon for buy box, you're most likely not going to get it if you're not FBA. So
during the pandemic, when people couldn't ship non-PPE, didn't get in for 2 months or something like that, what did you do? How did you adapt?
We did pivot to, FBM, just be out of necessity. We had no choice.
And are you still doing that, or did you kind of dial it down on the FBM level?
We still do FBM, but the reason we do FBM now is because the time to get goods to FBA has like tripled in some cases. So we used to create a shipment to FBA, and then that'll get there. They used to get there in like 5 days, and now it's taking like 3 weeks. So,
even longer sometimes.
Even longer sometimes. And there's no reason that it's taking that long. But when you work on terms from suppliers and you got to, figure out what to do in that window that you get, I can't be like, just, create a shipment for FBA and whenever it gets there, that's fine. So, we were kind of forced to pivot in some cases just because of the way that our business is set up. But FBM creates its other issues because most, at least arbitrage sellers, customer service and logistics is not really part of what we do.
Okay, so we just got a comment from Peretz Tauber from Accurate Transport. They actually help people get their goods into Amazon quicker than Amazon's truck, whatever you use, UPS, whatever Amazon recommends. So I'm gonna just shout out Peretz, who happens to be awesome at customer service. I've seen every single client I've sent him was happy, and it remains happy. So he's a great guy. They offer a great service, and for someone who's going through these painful delays, I can't think of a better solution than Accurate Transport. So if he's shipping freight, there's a better way.
I love it.
I love it. Thank you, Peretz. You plugged yourself.
Just to go back to your question, that I think that definitely if things remain the way that they are right now for the foreseeable future, then FBM just remains a reality of operating right now. Obviously, doing FBA, 100% FBA, is a lot easier because then you can just focus on your core competency of, securing goods and getting them to the market. So we won't have to worry about the customer service, getting things out on time. We never operated so much. When you're FBM, you're operating on a deadline. Somebody buys it, you have to make sure you get it out on time. When you're only dealing FBA, we were able to figure out our own flow. So just something else that we had to pivot and learn. But with Amazon, you're always pivoting and you're always learning.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Agility is really what it is in Amazon. If you have to be able to adapt that fast.
I wanna update the old saying. There's 3 things in life that are guaranteed: death, taxes, and Amazon will forever be changing. Can I add that one in there? Because that's like one of those. I feel like it's up there with taxes.
Use it right now,
Huh? What'd you say?
I said I don't know if that's gonna stick, but we can use it right now.
We're using it now.
So, David, I just wanted to say something. When I started out selling on Amazon, there was no FBA. So there was only FBM.
Yeah. When you said 21 years ago, I was like, you guys were sending with like pigeons back then.
So you guys both mentioned something about when you started, there was nothing like there is today. I want to ask you another question. This is going to be the last question we ask you guys today, and then we're going to close out. In your opinion, I feel, I'm going to say a statement first. I feel like today there are so many options for a seller. Today's topic is a seller's perspective. So let's try to get a seller's perspective on this next question. More of what we've already been doing. But basically, what is Haim, Daniel, what is your opinion on the amount of resources there are today for a seller? I feel like there's just a tremendous amount of meetups and events and cruises and there's things happening. One thing that's happening is, right over there, Ecom Cooperative. How we doing? Haim is signed up. Daniel is not signed up. I love the split dynamic we have here. It's great. But maybe at the end of this episode, Daniel will be convinced that he needs to sign up. But my question is, and I want to get both answers here, and I think they'll be kind of opposites. But what is your opinion on not the Ecom Cooperative, just the resources that there are today? We'll lead this into the Ecom Cooperative in a minute. But Haim, I'll ask you first.
Let Dan go first because I want to lead up into something.
Okay, go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
Actually, this is actually something that me and David were talking about. Many years ago, these services didn't exist. Amazon was very much just get into it, figure it out. There wasn't a lot out there. There wasn't a lot of resources. And a lot of the guys out there, with the service companies today are guys that were selling back then, so they have that accumulative knowledge of when we were really figuring it out. And to come into the marketplace to help other people. And when me and David just got back from an event together in Miami, and one of the things I was talking to him about is one of the things I like the most about Amazon is the willingness of people to help each other, right? Like what we are doing right now is the willingness of people to just come down, sit down together, share knowledge, share ideas, help each other out. And I think it was a very natural progression for a lot of people, like our mutual friends Max and Yoni from Gatita. It was a very mutual progression from them when they were very large sellers. And when you're a seller, you're dealing with all these issues that you're trying to find solutions for. And then there just weren't, so you always had to make your own solutions. And then you meet more people that have those problems, and you're like, I can just solve that problem for people. So then it just really became a very natural thing of sellers getting into services. And that's also one of the great things, that almost all these service businesses that exist today are people that were sellers. So they have that experience. They know how to communicate with sellers. They know how to deal with people that are just starting a new business, that that don't know what they're doing, because we've all been there. So,
and they know the platform, so they're giving you from experience.
Exactly. They know the platform. They can tell you, hey, look, you're going to do this. Amazon is going to do X, Y, and Z, but then we can come in. So you can always tell the difference between somebody that is just, works at a company because he's good at whatever that company services, and the people that were that used to be the sellers, that, you know what I'm saying? You can always tell the difference in how the people communicate. But I think that it's phenomenal. The amount of services there are today blows my mind. And there's some really, really serious companies out there that really help a lot of people. So I think it's great.
I agree. And I think that point of how much people are willing to give back, I want to even just specify, and the service providers, we started out with the Ecom Cooperative with a $10,000 value with just a couple of companies. And then more and more service providers kept on knocking and kept on saying, let's join. We want to join. We want to join. And we have over $100,000 of services being raffled away in less than a month. And it's just amazing. It really is. Like, I feel like there's a real community here with the Amazon sellers. Haim, on to you. Please give us your opinion on this topic.
So also Amazon's changed over the last, even 5 years. There was never PPC advertising, 5-6 years ago. And even in PPC, it's expanded into videos and, and all these other stuff. So you have to, again, obviously, you as a seller have to change as well. The event, you learn so much, as a seller, I go to a lot of these events. I don't go to them all. But you learn a lot from the events. You meet a lot of you meet sellers, you mingle with sellers, you mingle with the agencies that offer services, and you learn so much. And getting back, I really want to say something. And as a seller, we spend so much time and money especially, I can't say this in arbitrage, but in private label. Like, before I met David, I went through 8 agencies and 2 Fiverr Upwork companies to find somebody to build my listings for me. The amount of time I spent looking for these companies, trying them out, money, going through the listings, redoing the listings because they came out very bad, until you find a good agency that can do what you need them to do as a seller. Same thing with video. Until David introduced me to Frank. I used 4 or 5 other guys. I spent money and time.
I remember we once hired some guy. Oh my gosh, we hired him, and then like 3 months passed, and like I don't even think no video, right? Nothing.
No video. And then I had another guy I hired. I gave him the template of what I wanted, exactly what I wanted the shoot to be like, and this and this and this. I got back a video. It was totally the opposite, but I paid for it now, and I'm stuck. So
then we found Frank. He said it was gonna take 4 weeks to shoot. He delivered it in 2. And till today, not just for you, Haim, but I have never ever had not even one edit on the video. And my process, as you know, we have edits. We do edit. Right. I don't know how it's possible to nail it on the head every single time. But our main man Frank here, with terrible service in the DR, has been delivering video after video. And I have to say, as much shade as we're going to throw on the DR, this is where he's filming these videos. And thank you to the DR for supplying.
work so slow that they have more time to focus on it. You know?
Definitely. That's definitely part of
they
it.
could be like,
That's
Haters
definitely.
always gonna hate. Haters always gonna hate.
But what I wanted to finish up saying is that I am happy that you guys came out with the e-com cooperative, because as a seller, it's you know, you have a cooperative of all different services that are already vetted. You know, sometimes you go to a show or an event where the services are not really, they're vetted to the point that they're legitimate companies. They're not going to run away with your money and give you nothing, but they're not vetted that they're giving you quality end product. And you know,
it's not better that they know what the hell they're doing.
Correct. Where you've created a e-com cooperative where you're only, you know, the people that are involved in it, the services that are offered are quality products, you know. So I come as a seller, that just saved me a whole lot of time, and time is money. Everybody knows this, and a whole lot of money just trying out people that I am going to end up with, you know, having to redo. And, you know, again, getting back when I'm launching a product, if my page is not built on time and it's built right, I miss the launch or it drags out, and then, you know, you created the item, now you miss the 90-day algorithm where your launch is the, you know, the best it's going to be, or you don't have the right video when you're launching, so your video ads are not going to be good, your page is not going to be, you could miss out on a launch and lose out on the whole item. So I think the e-com cooperative can offer sellers a great advantage of, you have the better service providers offering the better quality services, and I'm very happy that it's there.
You know, one thing I want to say, you know, I remember when I was starting out with my friends, you know, over 7 years ago, and when we started, you know, learning the things that we didn't even know at the time, you know, we just started figuring things out. Like, wouldn't it be great if somebody just had this tool so we didn't have to waste our time doing it? So we can just, you know, jump ahead and get it done. Wouldn't it be great if that existed? And now not only do, like, you know, Haim was saying, a lot of very good companies do exist. You guys kind of came together and just made it a one-stop shop. Or I'm like, oh, I need that, I need that, I need that, I need that, I need that. Boom. So
we're working on a new slogan: everything you need to succeed. That's the slogan for the cooperative. So it kind of just came to us in one of the promotional videos. So yeah, I mean, with that, let's close out the show, guys. I want to thank you both for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
We really appreciate the time. Danny had I think some other things going on, and he made the time for us. I appreciate it. Haim, thank you for making the time. Guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, I mean, definitely, we're excited to have you guys on the podcast again. And thank you guys. Thank you for joining. Have a great day, everybody.
Haim, it was amazing meeting you.
Nice meeting you too, man.
It was good meeting you.
Good meeting you too.
It was a pleasure, Frank.
Frank, make sure your cell phone servers work.
Have a great night, guys.
Frank and the guys. See you guys.
42 millimeter was made in Geneva. Yeah, I probably should go to your